Okay, so after knowing the definition and concept revolving around the term gifted and talented learners, as well on how to identify these kinds of learners, so now it is time for us to know what are the common learning characteristics of learners with additional needs. By the way, hello everyone, I am John J. A. Advancula, aka GG, one of your lecturer for today's topic. But before we start, let us first do the short activity I prepared. It is simple, guys. All you need to do is just to arrange the scrambled letters to complete the following phrases. So are you ready? So let's go. So number one, high level of Tuoltanalic Rio T-shirt. Yes? Mm-hmm. Yes? Yes, very good. It is intellectual curiosity. So number one, we have high level of intellectual curiosity. Now let's move to number two. Number two, good precomprehension of complex context. Yes, very good. It is comprehension. So number two, we have good comprehension of complex context. Number three, high degree of stock meant comet. Yes? Mm-hmm. Yes? Yes, very good. It is task commitment. So number three, we have high degree of task commitment. Number four, keen power of Serobjianva. Yes, very good. It is observation. So number four, we have keen power of observation. And lastly, number five, strong, well-developed igimanatino. Yes, it is imagination. Very good. So number five, we have strong, well-developed imagination. Okay, so now we have number one, high level of intellectual curiosity. Number two, good comprehension of complex context. Number three, high level of task commitment. And number four, keen power of observation. And lastly, we have number five, strong, well-developed imagination. But guys, what do you think of these attributes? It is called... Hmm, yes, very good. These are some of the learning characteristics of gifted and talented learners. But the question is, what is learning characteristics? Okay, so when we say learning characteristics, it refers to the attributes or attitudes of learners toward the learning process and toward to their own learning. Without further ado, here are the general learning characteristics of gifted and talented learners. But do note that not all learners will exhibit the learning characteristics listed below. However, these are the common manifestation of gifted and talented learners. One might possess a combination of characteristics in varying degree and amounts. Okay, so for the first common learning characteristics of these learners is that they have high level of intellectual curiosity. It implies that gifted and talented learners often have a high level of curiosity, to the point na may exhaust ka talaga sa sobrang dami nilang katanungan. Especially kapag ang isang topic o concept in newly introduced sa kanila, wherein very challenging at nasosurprise sila. Mostly kasi ang mga ganitong learners, due to their high level of intellect, ikaya nilang i-absorb ang maraming information. At they would dig deeper or learn more what they are curious about. Sila yung klase ng mga learners na magre-raise ng questions, especially what if questions like, what if ganito ma'am? What if ganito sir? And unlike sa mga ka-age nila or classmates, learners who are talented and gifted have a deep absorption of learnings and activities or topics that interest them. Yung mga learners kasi na ganito ay very passionate when it comes to learning new things. They tend to dig deeper, learn more on a certain learning. At sila yung mga learners na at an early age or at an early grade level who is very more advanced in terms of absorption of knowledge compared sa mga average learners o compared sa mga classmates nila na mga ka-age. The second one is that they read actively. Why? It is because that they tend to have an extensive vocabularies and may read earlier than their peers. Gifted and talented learners, sila yung mga klase ng bata na even if they read at the standard age like at their age 4, 5, or 6, they tend to read rapidly and widely compared sa iba. Sometimes natawag sila nating mga bookworm o book genius. Gawa na at an early age or at early grade level, they have an advanced vocabularies and reading skills. At mas marami pa silang alam sa mga bagay-bagay compared sa mga higher grade level students. The third one is that they have high degree of task commitment. Why so? It is because na mostly of the learners who are gifted and talented ay napaka-high committed when it comes in fulfilling the task. They would do their very best to ensure na a certain task or activity in matapos with a high level of accuracy at pasok sa kanilang taste o standard. Sila yung learners who have the ability to involve oneself totally in a certain task for an extended time. Somehow, they are highly motivated and challenged, which is part na o parcel na ng kanilang giftedness. Gifted and talented learners are perfectionists, but not all I think kasi even though na may correlation ang perfectionism and giftedness, we can't do stereotyping kasi nga sobrang napaka-diverse ng giftedness and they differ in some way kasi nga diba not all gifted and talented learners rooted in the cognitive domain. For the fourth one is that they have keen power of observation. They are very observant. They can notice as well pinpoint a very tiny details they observe and see than other children with the same age cannot. They can notice things that fellow children or even adults would overlook, whether reading books or watching movies. These kinds of learners often notice seemingly non-essential pieces of information that others might miss. At minsan pa nga, ang kanilang pagiging observant, nauuwi sa conflict. Especially ng mga ayaw ma-criticize o ayaw mapuna yung mga flaws ng mga gawa nila. At minsan, ang dating nito sa ibang tao very negative. Sasabihin agad nila na, you have no right to judge my work. This is mine. Which, deep inside, ayaw lang talaga nilang i-accept yung mga flaws nila. So, hindi natin masasabi na negative ang ganitong characteristics ng isang gifted learners kasi nature ability na nila ito. That's already a parcel of their giftedness na very observant sila. So, instead na sasakit ang loob mo kapag na-pinpoint nila yung mga flaws ng presentation mo o gawa, for example, yung project mo, i-take in mo na lang ito as a compliment for your betterment. Thus, we should appreciate these kinds of learners and try to understand their situation because they are valuable as we are. The fifth one is that they are highly verbal. Ito yung isa sa mga learning characteristics of gifted and talented learners wherein they are so advanced in terms of communicating. Sila yung learners na very eloquent. Why? It is because that they are so good in using words and uses vocabulary far beyond their age when talking. Sila yung mga batang very careful in choosing their words but tend to use a lot of them. At kapag mga ganitong students ang kausap mo, talagang nosebleed aabutin mo. Kasi yung mga words nila very unfamiliar. Alam mo yung feeling na sana naging dictionary ka na lang so that kaya mo silang tapatan kahit sa meaning man lang. At kadalasan pa nga, they get frustrated sa mga kaibigan nila o sa mga ka-age nila na hindi kayang sabayan o hindi kayang unawain ng mga pinagsasabi nila. That's why they would often choose to talk to adults or to higher level students instead of those children in the same age group or yung mga kaedad nila. The sixth one is that they get bored easily. Why do you think so? Yes, it is because that they are more advanced compared to their classmates, that they need rigor, challenge, and complexity in their learning. They want to be surprised and challenged by the task difficulty, so their brain is wired to learn more depth and breadth of information. So kapag nag-assign ka ng activity or task na alam na nila o kaya ay common na, ay nawawalan sila ng gana. Iniisip nila na ang boring gawa na hindi man lang sila nahihirapan. Nakaka-frustrate kasi walang ka-challenge. Gifted and talented learners learn rapidly. Their skills in academics are way above their peers. Thus, as a future educator, it is very important to make amendments in our educational strategies to cater their needs and rapid learning. The seventh one is that they can retain and recall information. Obviously, gifted and talented learners have a high memory retention, which allow them to retain and recall information ng mas mabilis and for longer periods of time kumpara sa ibang mga mag-aaral o yung mga kasing edad nila. The rapid learning ability allows them to process facts quickly and retain them for efficient recall later on, which is very challenging sa side ng parents and teachers kapag ganito yung mga estudyante kasi very rapid yung learning nila. At saka kailangan nilang mabusising pag-evaluate ng materials na gagamitin nila in the class so that they can cater those kinds of students. The eighth one is that they always feel excited about learning new concept. Why? Ang mga learners kasi na kagaya nila ay mayroong boundless energy when it comes to learning new things. Hindi sila nagsasawa as long na ang mga lessons na nai-introduce sa kanila ay bago sa kanila. They love and enjoy learning. They enjoy intellectual activity, discovery, and they display intellectual playfulness toward it. In addition, ang mga learners kagaya nila ay sobrang intense in the way they learn, which often they pick up large amounts of information quickly. The next one is that they have independence in learning. They can learn and make intellectual development independently. They are usually intrinsically motivated, meaning they set goals and challenges for themselves rather than to get the approval of others. They often have an unusual capacity for processing information and are often able to process that information more quickly, rapid, and accurately alone or independently than their peers. Another one is that they have good comprehension of complex context. Gifted and talented learners have an advanced cognitive and affective capacity of conceptualizing, which means, due to their advanced intellectual capability, ikaya't nagagawa nilang i-analyze at i-break down ang isang complicated na situation and transform it into an easy one with a unique way of solving it. For example, in terms of mathematics problem, average students would stick to the formula and to the given example, while a gifted and talented one would break down the complex issues and find a solutions that no one has ever thought of. Next one is that they have strong, well-developed imagination. Gifted and talented learners have a vivid imagination, meaning they can imagine ideas, images, situations, and others in an easy way. They often exhibit a strong imagination with an ability to spin tales that parents and teachers do not necessarily expect. Sila yung mga batang makikita ang kanilang creativity and originality through the way they speak, especially kapag oral activities or presentations sa classroom, through their written works or artistic expression, and are viewed as an highly creative individual. They spend time fantasizing and are often categorized as an independent thinkers. Lastly, is that they often gives uncommon responses to common questions. Why so? Well, it is because that they think abstract, complex, logical, and insightful. So, even though na common yung questions na tinatanong sa kanila, given the way they think, perceive, and analyze a certain question, ay talagang kakaiba ang magiging sagot. Learners like them kasi always think outside the box. They think widely. They think beyond the concept, which is their nature na as a gifted and a talented one. Okay, so everyone, those are the common learning characteristics of a gifted and a talented learners. And I hope you learned something. Again, this is John G. Advancula, one of your lecturer for today's lesson. Thank you.